said, I think he did say I'm a felon. He said I'm a felon, but it was like it was a DUI. And I went, do you have a driver's license? And he goes, yeah, I just got it back like a year ago. And I thought, for him to have lost his license and be a felon, he had to have lost it multiple times before it becomes like a felony.
Yeah.
So at that time, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So I just remember thinking, you're a felon from a DUI for some reason, or even if it wasn't from the DUI, I'm assuming it was. I'm thinking, what if he loses his license again? I could be driving around with the guys. I could have a car, 2 cars, an apartment, credit card, everything in a guy's name. Because see, what I would do is I would pair them with Social Security numbers that were recently issued. I would go straight into Social Security number and get a Social Security card issued to Michael Eckert. And I'd get a whole new credit profile based on him. New address, new everything. Lots of people had the name Michael Eckert. I changed the middle name slightly.
Right.
Boom, credit profile, 700 credit scores. So buy a car, house, whatever. My point is that I'm driving around. What if I get pulled over? This guy's got a DUI. I go to jail. I get fingerprinted. I'm done.
Right.
So, and Becky and I, we talked about that multiple times. What if you get grabbed? And I was like, look, worst case scenarios at this time, I don't know if this is how it works now, but this was 15 years ago. I was like, worst case scenario is if I get grabbed and they bring me downtown and they fingerprint me, they won't run the prints right away. They only run them right away through APHIS if your identity is in question. Keep in mind, my identity won't be in question because I have a real driver's license. So if it's not in question, they're going to fingerprint me. You can get me, it'll be something stupid that I get arrested for.
Right.
So you can easily get me out within 24 hours. You get me out before they run my prints, and we're gone. And she was like, okay. Because a lot of these small towns and stuff, they don't run your prints right away. They do them in batches, or they don't, it wasn't back then. It wasn't the digital scanner thing. It was, they're
Pops up on
printing
the
you.
computer.
Right.
So even if when they did have them, they don't necessarily run them. They get charged for running them. And your identity's not in question. So we talked about that. Anyway, my point is I started stealing the identities of real people. But one day we're sitting at a red light, and I said, what we need is an identity of someone who isn't really using their identity. And she's like, what? I said, I don't know. She's like, mental patients, something. What? I was like, what about people that died? And I said, no, because when you die, it gets registered so that they can get the death benefit of $250. And so Social Security knows you're dead. It shows up on your credit profile. So I can't use those. It's no good. We need permanent IDs. And I went, she's like, well, like who? And I went, and there was a guy standing there holding hungry, will work for food. So I go, like, that guy.
Yeah.
That's just the bum? I was like, yes. So we pull over. I go up to the guy. I go, hey, man, what's up? And he's like, what's up? I said, can I ask you some questions real quick? I'll give you $20 right now. 5 minutes. He said, yeah, what's up? And I start asking him questions. Do you have a felony? Do you have a driver's license? How'd you lose your license? Was it a DUI? Was it, and it wasn't. He didn't have a DUI. It just expired. He doesn't have a car. How would I get a DUI?
Right.
I've been arrested multiple times. I don't have a felony, though. I have a bunch of misdemeanors. So I came up with a statistical survey form where I went around and I would question homeless people. I was trying to get their information to try and determine where the Salvation Army was going to open their next homeless facility.
You just give a guy $20 and say,
of course, he's taking a survey for the Salvation Army. We're trying to determine where we're going to open our next homeless facility.
That's what you're telling them.
Yeah. And they give them $20 and I take their information. They have no clue. And then I turn around, I order their birth certificate, I order their Social Security card, I order their high school transcripts, I order everything. I then turn around, I go into a state where they don't have a license. I go into the DMV, hey, just moved to the state, lost my license. Here's my proof I would register to vote in their name, get the card within a couple of days. Here's my voter's registration card. Here's my birth certificate. Here's my SOCH. And here's my high school transcript. And obviously I'm a resident of the state. Sometimes I would sometimes I'd have a lease for my apartment in the guy's name, and they would go, okay, great, stand over there, take a picture, bam, 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 you got a driver's license.
They just print you out the driver's license.
I then turn around, I go straight to the passport office. Not straight, a couple days later. Go straight there. Here's my birth certificate, here's my driver's license, and they take all the information down. You pay like a $55 fee, they mail it in. 2 weeks later, you get a passport. So what happened was, once we moved from Atlanta, we went to, we're going everywhere. We're going to Las Vegas. We're going to we go to Jamaica. We're going to where else? I mean, we're just traveling all over the place.
Yeah.
So I remember we went to Las Vegas and okay. Listen, how much time do we have? Because
We got all
this is a
night.
good story, bro.
Yeah, all night, man.
This is a good story.
We got plenty of time.
You're gonna love this. This is, and it's horrible, and I feel bad. I'd like to say I feel bad about this.
Well, that's
Okay,
good.
so we go to Las Vegas, so Becky can see her son,
Yeah.
and we hand over some money, and she's handing off money to family and making everybody happy, and we're buying presents and doing all the things that is going to make her feel good. So while we're there, I said, "Look, let's do some surveys."
Yeah.
So she goes, "Oh my God!" So we drive to an area, and there were so many homeless people. I was nervous about getting
That's
out
the first
and pulling
place
out.
I thought of with homeless people. I'm like, that'd be perfect. Las Vegas.
Well, and I didn't want to pull out, but I didn't want to pull out a lot of money. So I was like, "Man, there's just too many of them."
Oh yeah.
So she goes, "Okay." So we go to another
You get
place.
bombarded.
She goes, "Okay, another place." She goes, "Well, how about these guys?" There were a couple guys sitting on a park bench, and they were pretty clean cut. They were so clean cut, I thought they may not be homeless. So I got out, and one of the guys gets up. He goes, "Yeah, what's going on?" I said, "Hey, would you mind taking a survey real quick?" And this happened all the time. I said, and they go, "Nah, I'm not interested. Pays $20 cash right now. You're gonna give me $20 cash right now, right? Takes 3 minutes, 17 questions. Yeah, man, what's going on?" I started asking the questions. His name, Gary Sullivan, date of birth, social security number, blah 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 blah. We're going down the thing. I asked, "Ever been arrested?"
No, like hesitation to give you their social.
No.
Really?
No. The few guys that did hesitate, I would always go, okay, well, I have to have it. And I'd say, well, okay. I look at them and I go, okay, well, what would I do with it? And they go, well, you could steal my identity. I go, do you have good credit?
Right.
They go, no, I got shit credit. I go, okay, well, then what good would it be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they go, do you have a bank account? No. Okay, I don't understand. And if you don't want the $20, it's fine. It's no big deal. I got somebody else.
You were
Right.
No,
The
no,
guy
no,
behind
slick
you.
talker.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. Yeah, okay, here
Yeah.
it is. And I remember, now I want to see the social security card because I don't think you're going to give me a bad one.
Fake number. Yeah.
Now I got to see it.
Yeah.
So anyway, Gary Sullivan gives me his information, and as we're going down the list, and I start asking, there's random questions I would ask. You ever had a passport? You ever had, how many states have you had a driver's license in? Which states? That sort of thing. When was the last time you were gainfully employed? That, do you have a felony? And the guy goes, no, I don't have a felony. He goes, I've got misdemeanors. And I went, misdemeanors? Yeah. He goes, yeah, for prostitution. And I went, okay. Okay, well, you mean solicitation? Because, in my mind, guys get charged with solicitation.
He was
Women
male,
get charged.
buying
male
prostitutes.
prostitutes.
Right. Didn't even occur to me. And I went, you mean solicitation? He goes, no, prostitution. He goes, I offered to blow a undercover cop for $20.
Oh my God.
And I went, really? He goes, yeah, I've been arrested a few times for it. And I went, oh, okay. I said, wow, okay. And he goes, yeah. He said, well,
$20. Wow.
Shit.
So
Times are
And
tough.
you gave him the survey for 20.
Times are
He's
tough,
probably
man.
like, damn, a survey.
That was a fucking-
I'll take the
That was a
100
good
surveys.
day for that guy.
I remember he said, that's what I thought you were here for. And that's what they're hanging out there for. And I went, he goes, this is basically an area where sex traffickers hang out.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Becky knew that. She's sitting in the car laughing. And I'm like,
She set you up.
unbelievable. So I take his information and I leave, get in the car. She's talking about my boyfriend, like, oh, what'd your boyfriend say?
Yeah.
So we leave. We go back to Charlotte. We set up. We're all happy. I figure, okay, well, we need some more money. I got to get at least $1 million on the next one. We do. So I go to Columbia, South Carolina. I buy a couple houses. And one of the houses I buy is a house for $230,000. So basically I just got a realtor and we drove around houses and I just put contracts on them. Owner financing. I need you to owner finance. I need you to owner finance it. And you put 5 contracts on 5 houses, at least 1 or 2 of them come back and they want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the realtors comes back and says, my clients are, he's a doctor and they're moving to Atlanta and they're interested in doing the owner financing. And I said, okay, cool. So I said, okay, so I'll give you guys 10% down on a $225,000 house. So I'll give you $25,000 down. So and you owner finance $200,000. And they had a mortgage on the house for $200,000. So it's called a wraparound mortgage.
Okay.
So they're going to give me a mortgage that wraps around their mortgage. So I pay them, they pay the mortgage company.
Got it.
So we go to the closing. We have a closing, and I think Bridget Brown is on the American Greed. I think she's on the American Greed. Pretty sure she is.
I don't remember her.
Yeah, I remember there was 3 girls on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this was Dr. Brown's wife.
Okay.
And so we
Okay.
go
I
to the
think
closing.
Okay.
We go to the closing, and we just it's just a quick closing. I mean, later on when I watched
okay.
American
Yeah.
Greed, she says that she talked about how she'd had her identity stolen before,
Mm-hmm.
and she says that my eyes got real wide, and you know. And,
Is that the lady with the kid?
yes,
That's
with
in
the
that
kid.
show? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
The sick kid, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So we go to the closing. You know, I do remember her saying that. I don't remember my eyes getting wide, but I remember thinking, "Oh, okay. You know, I'm just in and out.
Right.
We're not hanging out. We're not making friends. I'm not
Right.
asking any personal questions." She mentions that. We sign. I leave. I now own the house in the name of Gary Sullivan's name. So I then turn around and I go downtown a week or two later, and I satisfy the loan on the house in their name, the one they had. And I satisfy the loan that they had in the name of like Federal Credit Union or something like that. It was like Federal Savings Credit Union or something, bank. And that's when I started signing like the mortgage, the satisfactions with like cartoon characters. You remember, like I signed it with
Yeah.
like the name C. Montgomery Burns, which once again I thought that was extremely cute.
Yeah.
You know, did not play well in front of the judge.
No,
a
definitely not.
couple years later, no sense of humor about
Yeah.
that at
Didn't
all.
you like leave some sort of like paper mache statue in
that's-
somebody's house?
That's actually not true. I did leave it, and
Okay.
the guy said that I left the paper mache statue in the middle of the living room, like screaming.
Right,
that
like in
I was
agony.
taunting him or something.
Right.
But I have a degree in fine arts.
Yeah.
Fraud is not a full-time job. We're jogging, we're working out, we're doing rock climbing, we're going on vacations. We're still bored.
Yeah.
And one of the things I did was I made like a paper mache guy, and I was working on it, but by the time we started getting the money out, I didn't have time to finish it. And I couldn't fit it in the back of the vehicle we were driving. So I left it in the garage. When he shows up at closing, or at the
that was pretty creepy to me. Like on the show, they made it sound like you were like,
well, you know,
Yeah.
what's funny is that when it ended up at sentencing and on the shows, it's that I left it in the middle of he says when I walked in, I'd left it in the middle of the living
Right.
room and the entire house was trashed. We had a bed upstairs in the master bedroom. We had no furniture. The house wasn't trashed. We'd had the carpets actually steam cleaned before we left.
Yeah.
So there was nothing to trash. So it was like, you know, it's like, look, I'm already in a bad spot here. Can you please not say that? You know, I know you're tweaking it a little bit to make it worse, but it's already bad.
right,
Yeah.
right.
You know, so it's always the tweak of the, and he left it here and he was taunting me.
Yeah.
No, it was in the garage
Right.
along with the back seat of the vehicle we were driving because we had so much crap we couldn't
Wow.
pack it. We had to pull out the back seat. Anyway, but whatever. Like I said, it's the same thing. It's like
Right.
saying you're a murderer. You killed 13 people, and you say, "Oh, it's not true. I killed 11." But you're still a scumbag.